Hey everyone, and welcome! Today, we're going to take a deep dive into a component that can seriously level up your B4X app's interface, making it feel way more modern, sharp, and alive. We're talking about the B4X DaisySvgIcon. And hey, if you've ever battled with blurry icons in your apps, then you are in exactly the right place.
You know the feeling, right? You spend hours crafting this perfect layout, everything looks great, but then you run it on a phone with a high-res screen, or you try to make an icon just a little bit bigger and suddenly, it's all fuzzy. Those crisp graphics just fall apart, looking blurry and, let's be honest, kind of unprofessional. It's a super common problem with older image formats.
And this slide really gets to the heart of why that happens. Over on the left, you've got your traditional bitmap icons. Think PNGs, JPEGs. They're basically a grid of colored pixels. When you try to make them bigger, you're just stretching that grid, and that's where the blur comes from. But on the right, that's SVG, or Scalable Vector Graphics. These aren't made of pixels at all. Instead, they're defined by math, lines and curves. So you can scale them up to the size of a billboard, and they will stay absolutely, perfectly sharp.
And that, my friends, is exactly where the B4XDaisyIcon component swoops in to save the day. It's a total game changer, designed specifically to bring the power of these scalable, lightweight, and super dynamic vector icons right into your B4X projects. It's the fix for that blurriness problem, and honestly, a whole lot more.
So, here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the super easy no-code setup right in the designer. Then, we'll get our hands dirty and unleash its true potential by controlling it with code. After that, we'll pop the hood and see how it works its magic with native rendering. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with the key things you need to remember for your own projects.
All right, let's kick things off with the easiest way to get started, the visual designer. This is absolutely perfect for getting your icons into your layout and looking good without having to write a single line of code.
And the first step? It seriously couldn't be any simpler. You just find the B4XDaisySvgIcon in your custom views library and drag it right onto your layout, just like you would with any other button or label. Done.
So once you have it on your layout, you can tweak how it looks right from the Properties panel. SvgAsset is the big one. That's where you tell it which SVG file to use. You can set the width and height, of course, and color lets you apply a single color tint to the whole icon. Now, the one little catch is the Preserve Colors checkbox. If your SVG already has its own colors and you want to keep them, just check that box. See, it's really, really straightforward.
Okay, the designer is fantastic for that initial setup. But what if you want your icons to change when a user taps something, or maybe switch colors along with your app's theme? Well, for that, we need to jump into the code.
And this is where things get really, really cool. The API for B4XDaisy's SVG icon is designed to be incredibly simple, but also super powerful. It lets you change pretty much anything about the icon, right on the fly, directly from your B4X code.
For instance, let's say you need to change the icon size. Check this out. It's just one simple line of code. You call the setSize method, give it a size token like 24 or 48, and that's it. The component just handles it, redrawing the icon perfectly to the new size. Now this one really shows off how great this component is for theming. Instead of hard-coding a specific color, you can call setColorVariant and use a theme name like primary or accent. The component is smart enough to then go and grab the right color from your app's actual theme, which keeps your whole UI looking perfectly consistent.
So, how do we put all this together? Let's break down the logic from the demo project. It's actually really simple. First, you just make a couple of lists, one with the color names and one with the sizes you want to cycle through. Then, you start a simple loop. Inside that loop, you call setColorVariant and setSize to apply the next style from your lists. And the secret sauce? A tiny sleep call that just pauses for a moment. That little pause is what creates that slick, animated transition effect. It's so simple, but so effective. Okay, so we've seen what it can do, which is awesome. But for all the curious developers out there, you might be wondering, how does it do it all so efficiently? Let's take a quick peek under the hood and check out the native rendering engine. The magic word here is native rendering. See, some other tools might try to cheat by embedding a hidden web browser just to display an SVG. That's slow, and it eats up a lot of memory. B4XDaisySvgIcon does it the smart way. It actually reads the SVG's code and uses the platform's own high-speed graphics tools like the canvas and path objects on Android to draw the icon. That means it's incredibly fast, super efficient, and light on resources. So here's how that whole process breaks down into 4 main steps. First, it just reads your SVG file as plain text. Second, it uses a really fast XML parser to go through all the tags, like a path tag, and its drawing instructions. Third, and this is the really clever bit, it translates those SVG instructions into a native path object that the Android system understands perfectly. And finally, it uses the native canvas to draw that path onto the screen. It's just a beautiful, efficient pipeline from start to finish.
Yeah, we have covered a ton of ground. So let's bring it all home and boil this down to the most important takeaways. Let's talk about what this really means for your B4X projects.
So, what do you really need to remember? Number 1, your icons are always going to be crisp and sharp, period. They are fully dynamic, so you can change their color and size with just a line of code. Your app actually gets smaller and more lightweight because one little SVG file can replace a whole folder of PNGs. You get amazing performance because it's all rendered natively, and maybe best of all, it's just plain easy to use, whether you're in the designer or writing code.
So I'll leave you with a question to think about. Now that you have the power to create icons that are scalable, that can change with your theme, that can even be animated, how are you going to use that power to take your next user interface from good to truly great? That's all for now. Thanks for joining me.